HPE Discovery is underway this week in Las Vegas. CEO Antonio Neri gave his keynote at the Sphere where he announced a new partnership with Nvidia. Antonio, thank you so much for joining us here on Yahoo Finance. Let's get started with this new partnership with Nvidia, who seem to be the gold standard of AI right now. Talk about that relationship and what you both hope to accomplish with this announcement.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me. I hope you don't hear a lot of noise, but we have 15,000 people behind me at the show floor. This is 7 acres of innovation that we're displaying here in Las Vegas. But as you said, Yasmin, we hosted the keynote at the Sphere. It was a remarkable combination of story and AI. And there, Jensen joined me to announce the NVIDIA Computing Initiative by HPE. And the core of that, we really focus on the enterprise segment of the market, because when you think about AI, there is the model builders and the hyperscalers, you have the sovereign clouds and the enterprise. Obviously, we already seen a tremendous traction on the model builder side and the hyperscalers, but we focus on enterprise. And at the core of that is how we deliver a simple AI solution to consume on premises. And we actually, for the first time in the history of the AI, we announced a turnkey full co-engineered solution that at the core is a simple experience to deploy. It's 3 clicks and 24 seconds to have an AI model deploy in your enterprise. And that offer comes with NVIDIA Silicon, NVIDIA software, AI Enterprise, NIMs, and others, plus HPE infrastructure, both servers and storage, plus HPE software that complements that software from NVIDIA, and also security built at the core. So very excited. And Jensen and I believe this is going to accelerate the adoption in enterprise to drive the generative AI industrial revolution.
Antonio, on this partnership with Nvidia, I think a lot of investors want to know, when do you think, Antonio, this is going to have a positive, meaningful impact on your financials? I know it's early days, Antonio, but what can you tell investors? How are you thinking about that?
Well, Josh, it's already having an impact, because in my last earnings reports, I reported that more than 15% of our orders are already related to enterprise. And this announcement is going to accelerate the adoption in a much easier to consume way as a part of our HPE GreenLake Cloud offering. So we expect this to accelerate that adoption, and we hope over the next 2 to 3 quarters we start seeing the benefit of this. But remember, we already see enterprises adopting it, and we already see 15% plus already in our books.
Antonio, in your keynote, you emphasize that AI is hard and full of risks. We've seen plenty of that on the consumer and content side, specifically with accuracy. I'm curious, what kind of challenges are you facing in enterprise and hardware?
Well, actually, at the beginning of my keynote, I talked about the key ethical principles we need to guide ourselves and be the steward of. Those are simply as human focus, safety, security, which means idle client security, and others. And we build those principles, Yasmin, in this offer. In fact, in this offer, the provenance of the model, the governance around the data that we put together. In fact, we built a data lake security model in the offer itself. And then also we put the guardrails. So the guardrails associated with the large language models come with this offer. My team and I worked on a fun thing to engage customers through the show floor. It's called Antonio Nearly, but it's an avatar of myself. You can go ask questions to him about anything. But what was amazing to me was the guardrail, so that Antonio doesn't hallucinate. And so the point is that we built all of those guardrails into the offer itself. And we believe this is going to help customers feel more comfortable around this. But ultimately, it's a data-first approach, and we need to make sure that we protect our data.
Antonio, I want to dig a little bit more into your AI servers, and 2 questions for you. One is the competitive landscape. Antonio, I'm interested in what you think makes your AI servers different and better than what Michael Dell is selling right now. And 2, Antonio, broadly, it does look like investors have questions about the margins of AI servers. It doesn't seem like everybody is necessarily increasing profits by selling them. Is that your situation?
Well, thank you for the question, Josh. Here, behind me, is one of the reasons why we're differentiated. There are people probably looking at the racks right now, and that's the direct liquid cooling capability. As you know, as we transition the roadmap from the current generation, which is the H100 to Grace Hopper and eventually Blackwell, Rubin, and Vera, Blackwell would require 100% direct liquid cooling. HPE has hundreds of patents in that specific space, and we have been doing direct liquid cooling for more than 2 decades. More than 2 decades. In fact, that system behind me is a supercomputing system. But ultimately, you also need to manufacture this. And so we have one of the largest water-cooled facilities here in the US and another one in Europe. So as we make that transition, HPE will be uniquely positioned to adopt this new technology with a higher power density. And that's why it's a huge differentiation. Second is the services capabilities. It's not about just selling servers. It's about deploying a generative AI solution and ultimately making sure that runs sustainably and consistently. And that's the other reason why our profitability is solid. If you go back to our Q2 results, we said we grew revenues in our AI servers by 18% year over year. And at the same time, we delivered a solid operating profit performance of 11%. And that's because it's not just the margins on servers, it's the margin associated with the software, and AI Private Cloud includes all the software, and also the fact that obviously we do all the services. And when you deploy this to GreenLake, actually we manage all that infrastructure on behalf of the customers, and therefore there is even more margins which are deferred over time. And that's why we are, I think, very unique position for what comes next, and be able to deliver solid operating profit performance.